Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, we're doing annual NFL preview. If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. I believe, Brock, this is our third annual. We did it a couple years ago with Kyle, had him return, kind of catch up with everybody, all the viewers and stuff. And then you and I believe it was, did it last year. Three of us are going to do it this year. Kind of the
Yep.
dead time for COD, as we all know. Nobody's really playing the game casually, competitively.
Nothing much.
Nothing's dropping roster news wise. Like we don't really have much of anything at all. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens on that front. Like we had Celium and Abizi kind of announced as leaving phase, but even they weren't announced as to where they were going.
Yep.
For their next team. So that's a little bit interesting because I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm remembering previous years wrong, but I swear we've had way more announcements by this time, typically.
Oh yeah. Usually, but this year they're dragging it.
Yeah. And I guess the game is coming out like damn near a month later or something, but still, like, I swear we normally have announcements by now.
Yeah.
But with that said, we're gonna do an NFL preview today. I know the results on this are usually mixed, but at this time of year, it's kind of the dead time for COD content, anyways. So if you guys
hmm
are NFL fans, if you guys are not, you can click off. If you are, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. We're just going to kind of go division by division, talking about who we think is going to win, what's going to happen in that division, and probably go over like not like a full playoff bracket or something, but like who you think is going to make it to the Super Bowl, maybe the championship games, um, something like that, and then probably talk about like award winners and just kind of I don't know. We might ramble on for a while. It might be kind of quick. I have no idea, but um, if you've listened to previous ones, we have a mix. We're all technically from the same state, but do not none of us like our state's home team, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny. Um, and it's pretty rare because I feel like I mean, you see that in certain states. Like, I mean, for example, Brock, you're a Falcons fan. I feel like a lot of people from
Yep.
Georgia are not, or a lot of people that live in Atlanta are not because Atlanta is like one of the cities where like it's got so many. I think I saw like a stat on that sometime where like Atlanta is like one of the cities where like damn near nobody that lives there is from there. So there's so many different like fans in that city. Like there aren't. I mean, obviously there's a lot of Falcons fans still because they're living there, but like there's so many people that are from different areas that live in
Mhm.
Atlanta. But we're all from Wisconsin. Brad is a Bills fan. Brock is a Falcons fan, and I'm a Colts fan. So we've got a mix. Uh, but yeah, we're just gonna go division by division. Which conference do you guys want to start with?
Let's start with Brad's division, the Bills, AFC East.
All right. Look at look what Brad's holding up right now.
He's not on the team,
Yeah,
buddy.
that guy's on his second or third team since leaving.
Yep.
All right, start with the AFC East. I mean, this is pretty much for as long as I can remember being alive, one of the least interesting divisions in the NFL simply because you damn near know the winner every year.
Yep.
It's like for basically our entire childhood, the winner was the Patriots and it was never changing. Tom Brady was
Yep.
never going to lose the division. And then probably what, like 4-ish years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, it shifted to the Bills, and it's basically been like there was a blip there where the Patriots were good for like a year. They made the
Mhm.
playoffs. The Dolphins have been pretty solid, like a wild card team. The Jets have been the Jets. Uh,
Yep.
but
Achilles win.
Unlucky.
I mean, Brad, this is your division. Take it away. What you think is going to happen in here?
So I mean, I think Justin Fields. I think he's going to be good for the Jets. I think Justin Fields would be good for Brees Hall at fantasy owners at Ryan. Um, but I do think that the Jets are not going to be good. I think the Patriots take a step forward. I think Drake May is a good quarterback. Don't at me, Chrome. I think the Patriots defense, I mean, they always have a good defense. Mike Vrabel is going to make sure that they have a good defense. Um, I do think that they're going to put an emphasis on the run game, and they obviously just drafted Travion Henderson, which I think is an absolute dog. Um, Will Campbell, I was watching some film from
T-Rex
him. Obviously,
arms.
hey, I was watching some film from him though, as a former lineman. I mean, that man has the most beautiful pass set, the most beautiful run fits I have seen from an O lineman in a long time as like a top tackle prospect. I mean,
Glass arms.
the guy's fundamentals are perfect, and he'll be just fine at left tackle for the Patriots. I do think that the Jets finished last, Patriots are third, and then the Dolphins. If Tua can stay healthy, if Tyreek can stay healthy, obviously their defense is going to be much worse this year. Um, but the Dolphins' offense is always phenomenal, and this is an offensive league. I think the Dolphins, if Tua can stay healthy, will be probably second. And I think they'll be fighting for a wild card. And then the Bills will win the division. Josh Allen, MVP. I
Nope.
think
Fake
they had a
MVP
lot of
last year.
extensions this offseason. They James Cook just got his, Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Greg Rousseau, they all got extensions. Bills put a lot of emphasis on drafting and retaining their own players, which I love. Do I wish they make a couple of splash moves? Yeah, that's one thing that irritates me about the Bills. You look at the Ravens, for instance, they're always making moves in the offseason to improve the roster. Last year it was Derrick Henry. This year it was Jair Alexander. They drafted the top safety in the draft. Somehow he fell to him. The Bills don't do that. So I'm hoping what they have will be enough to win them a Super Bowl. I think I mean, obviously, I love the Bills. I think they're going to be really good. I think they are inevitably going to be a 1 or 2 seed in the AFC. So hopefully it runs through Buffalo, because obviously Buffalo is a very hard place to play in, especially when you get into those cold winter months. Um, but yeah, I think the Bills win the division. Dolphins 2 fighting for a wild card spot. Patriots still young, still improving. But I think they're going to be much improved. And then the Jets, they're the Jets.
So
I don't think Aaron Glenn can save them this year that much.
I was gonna do this for each division when we're talking about. I just pull up the odds for what this is what ESPN bet has for NFL futures, just for like to win the division. And obviously, this one is pretty lopsided as you'd expect. The Bills are minus 350. The Patriots are pretty shockingly a heavy favorite for second place, which I think
Really?
is pretty surprising. I I can see the argument for them being second.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's crazy, but they're plus 550 to win the division, and then the Dolphins are third at plus 900. Pretty big gap there. And then
Yeah.
the Jets double the Dolphins at plus 1800. That's not shocking. Although I will
Yeah.
say, I don't think the Jets are. I think it's crazy because I don't. I think the Patriots are one of the teams this offseason that's been a little bit overrated. I know people don't think they're going to be like contenders or anything, but I also think like Patriots have been pretty bad for a few years now, and like I do like Mike Vrabel a lot. He was in my division for a long time. He's a good coach, and like I think he's a good culture changer. But also like there isn't a ton on this roster that is like on the Patriots roster that makes me think that they're going to be some awesome team. I think they're going to be improved, but I kind of have them and the Jets both around like the 6 to 7 win range, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the Patriots probably have a higher ceiling just because we've seen the Justin Fields thing a million times. Like he puts up good fantasy numbers, but to actually win football games, I don't know. I think if
Great fantasy player.
yeah, I think he. I mean, if he was going to be the guy, I think we know at this point. Like I think the Steelers would have kept him. Like
Yeah.
because he won games there, and they still benched him, and they still refused to put him in, even when Russ was kind of struggling down the stretch there. I kind of like the Dolphins to finish second in this division. I think it's crazy that they're plus 900 to win the division compared to the Patriots plus 550. Like I said, I think unless something crazy happens, this is pretty easily the Bills division. I don't think it's all that close. Um, I think in terms of my order, though, I go Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. I think is how I'd lean, but I think the Patriots and Jets are a big toss up. I think they're going to finish around the same mark. I think the Dolphins could compete for a wild card. I'm not 100% sold that they will because I think that there's a pretty decent chance that there is a wild card team out of the West, out of the South, and out of the North. I think there's a good chance that each division has, and I think that the second best team in each division is better than the Dolphins, in my opinion, in the AFC. So
I mean,
I think there's only gonna be one team out of this division, if I had to guess.
I mean, shoot, I think 3 teams from the North could make it to the playoffs. Like, Ravens are good enough. The Bengals, if their defense can hold up, I mean, you know what that offense can do. And then obviously the Steelers, I mean, they always win football games. I mean, that one hinges on Raj, but yeah, like I said, I mean, it's gonna be a tough fight for the wild card, but I do think the
See,
Dolphins could be in the mix.
I think there's realistic. I guess. I don't know, well, this is. I don't want to get too far ahead and get into other divisions, but I think there's a pretty realistic chance that in the North, South, and West, there's like three teams that if you told me they made the playoffs in each division, there obviously not like all making it in the same year, but I think there's three teams in all the other divisions in the AFC that if you told me, hey, this team's gonna make the playoffs, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's not like crazy to me. I
Mhm.
think in the South, North, and West, there's three teams that I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can see it. But in the East, I guess kind of the Patriots, but I would be pretty surprised if the Patriots or Dolphins make the playoffs. I'll be decently surprised. Not like shocked, but like I'd be pretty surprised. Rock, what you think in this division?
Give me the Jets. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. But I know the Bills are gonna win what 12 games, and then they're gonna have to go play the Chiefs and lose again.
Probably.
Oh
That's
yeah,
dude. Yeah,
same old, same old. Yep.
yeah.
I like the Bills. I like the Dolphins because they have a good offense to win like 8 or 9 games to get second place, and then
First round implode.
yep. And then yeah, I'd probably take the Patriots win like 6 games, and then Jets take last because they're
Dude.
the Jets. And they always just find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah, I mean, am I crazy or I feel like I don't know that the Dolphins are going to be really good, but I feel like people at this point are actually underrating the Dolphins a little bit. Like
Yeah.
if Tua is healthy, their offense has been like towards the
So
top of the
good.
NFL basically since they've had McDaniel and Tua. Their offense has been towards the top basically every year.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the Tyreek and Waddle and Tua, and like they've Achan and like they've got a couple young running backs behind him. Like
they
I,
have Darren Waller as a tight end now.
yeah, they have Darren Waller. If he can be 75% of old Darren Waller, he would be a decent tight
Yeah,
end. Like I their team is not like their offense, I guess specifically. Their defense may have gotten a little weaker, but like their offense specifically is really strong that like I feel like just with Tua's injuries and his health is a massive question mark. Like
yeah.
to just say like if Tua is healthy is a big like that's a big question mark. He's been hurt a lot of concussions, like scary injuries that like he feels like he's one concussion away from calling it a career. um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I feel like the Dolphins are just the fact that the Dolphins' odds to win the division are almost double the Patriots seems like a little bit crazy to me. Like I don't
Yeah.
think the Patriots are twice the team that the Dolphins are. I think that's pretty fair to say.
No. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with you.
But yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is the most boring division in the AFC just because the Bills are a Super Bowl contender and everybody else is kind of like whatever.
Yeah. Those are just, superior.
They're just clearly superior. Like I think in the other divisions, at least two of them, you can make a pretty good case that it's a toss up for the winner of the division. In this one, it would take something insane for the Bills not to win
Yep.
it. Which I guess I'm just going to go in the order since you started with that one. In the graphic I have, the next division is the AFC North. So we'll just go forward with that one. Is the AFC East, Brock, you picked a good one because they're actually on top in the graphic I have up on the screen for everyone to see. So the next one down is the AFC North, which I think you can make the argument might be the most interesting division in the AFC because
Oh
it's
yeah.
got a lot of three
Good
good
teams.
teams, really fun offenses, at least two really, really fun offenses. The Bengals and the Ravens are really fun offenses. Um, Kind of crazy last year. Obviously, the Steelers had a really good start, kind of bottomed out towards the end of the year. The Ravens were good as always. The Bengals offense was historically good, but they couldn't stop anyone to save their souls. And then the Browns are the
Literally.
Browns. Feel like I mean, this is a division that I said again, I could see three teams in here. If you told me they're going to make the playoffs, wouldn't be too shocked. Obviously, the Browns being the team that I'd be pretty shocked if they made it. Um, I can start in this one and just go with my standings. I think obviously this one's a lot harder because I personally think it's a two-team race. I got the Ravens and the Bengals in a race. The Steelers, they were fine last year. They haven't won a playoff game in a long time. And like they have Aaron Rodgers, which I know the name brings a lot, but he's what 41 years old now. Achilles tear. He was decent last year. Team around him
He's an
kind
old
of
fella.
imploded. Like he's solid, and I think he can be good, and I think you can win some games with him. I think you could make the playoffs with him, but I don't. Aaron Rodgers isn't some big needle mover like he has been in the past. I
Yep.
got the Browns in last, the Steelers in third. I'm gonna say the Bengals are second, and I'm gonna have the Ravens win the division again. I like the Bengals a lot. I just the questions are on defense, obviously. Like new defensive
Mhm.
coordinator in there. I'm ecstatic that there is because Colts got their old guy. And I love him. So I I think the Bengals are going to be a good team. I think the Bengals are going to be a wild card team. Um, but yeah, I got it. Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and then Browns. I think only two teams come out of here. I think the Bengals and Ravens come out of this division.
Like that.
Brad,
You're
you want to
not.
go or Brock?
I'll
I'll
go.
go.
Oh,
Ooh,
well,
I'm
Brock.
Go ahead.
going. Well, I was gonna say you're not gonna take the Browns. They have Shadur.
Yeah, third stringer.
You mean Dylan
He's going to be the
Gabriel?
emergency third quarterback. They have him as third
Yeah.
behind Gabriel.
Unluck. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same way you think as you. Ravens, always win regular season games.
Yeah.
They'll get first place. Lamar, Dick Henry, and the crew. And I'm kind of with you. The Bengals, defense is kind of sus. The offense is going to produce a lot of points. Getting that one stop to win a couple games,
Yeah. Hmm.
and then Steelers. I feel bad because Arthur Smith is their offensive coordinator. He's a terrorist. So yeah, I picked them to get third, but they'll probably still win like 9 games. And then the Cleveland Browns, as I don't really know how many games they're gonna win, but they'll take last place.
There was like a little
Well,
blip there where the Browns had hope and they were good for like a couple years, and then they were like,
at Baker.
they were like, yeah, let's trade away Baker. He had a shoulder issue all year. Let's just dump him. The only like
Yep.
good quarterback we've had in the last how many years? Let's dump him.
Yeah, he won them a playoff game.
Let's dump him for a guy who hasn't played in a year and also is just a terrible human. That sounds like a smart trade.
Yeah, they should have
Yeah.
kept him. So then
3 firsts
maybe
and
then,
$230 million or whatever. Just
Yeah.
gone in freaking wind.
He wasn't worth near that money or those firsts or the trouble of having to tell people that you traded for him, knowing all
Yeah.
the things he's done. Uh, Brad,
crazy
are
trade.
you following our suit for this one?
I am a little different.
Yeah, we know.
So I have fair enough. I have the Ravens winning the division. Their O line is just freaking tremendous. Top 3 in the league easily. When obviously you have Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. Phenomenal, well-rounded team. Ravens are obviously Super Bowl favorites. Number 2 is where I get a little stinky from you guys with it. I think that the Steelers are going to be number 2.
Yeah, it's not
Simply
crazy.
because I know, but it's a little different. I think the Bengals are an excellent team offensively. Defensively, yes, they still have Trey Hendrickson, but like when you have Trey Hendrickson and literally nobody else to help him out, like I mean, the Bengals are going to be in a shootout every single week, and I'm not saying Burrow is on the level of Tua as far as injuries, but there has been times where Burrow gets hurt and he misses an extended amount of time, and I mean, without Burrow, the Bengals don't have a defense to support a backup quarterback. They don't even have a great offensive line to support a backup quarterback. So in that case, I do think the Bengals are going to finish third in the division. Steelers finish second, just because I mean Mike Tomlin, Hall of Fame coach. Rodgers will. I mean, they're going to run the ball more than they're going to throw the ball. I think, and the Steelers I think will be a 9-10 win team. Bengals I think are going to be. I think it's going to be tight between the Bengals and Steelers, but I do think the Steelers edge them out a little bit, and then the Brownies they're going to finish last. I mean, Joe Flacco, sure man, just yuck the ball, dude.
He sucks.
Old quarterback. He's like
Division
40 something
odds.
too.
Yeah, he's got to be almost 40. Division odds in this one, Ravens pretty heavy favorite, -160. Bengals, I guess, for the second place team in the division, they're not terrible at plus 260, Steelers plus 550, and then Browns plus 3,000. I think. Yeah, I'm looking at this. The Browns are plus 3,000. The
Dang.
next highest team in terms of longest odds is the Giants and Jets, both New York teams tied at plus 1,800. So that's how, I mean, based on this, they have the Browns is basically like for
The
sure
number one
the
pick.
most unlikely team to win their division. Maybe not. I mean, probably number one picks since they're that far, but it also does factor in like the fact that the division is like pretty tough. Like, how many things would have to go wrong for the Browns to sneak on top of this division? Because you got three pretty good teams. Like, um,
Some pretty bad things would have to happen.
I think Bengals Steelers is a pretty true toss up. The only reason I go Bengals over Steelers is just because if I look at the two, just like taking, I think both teams have holes, but if I look at Burrow and Rodgers at this point in his career, I'm just taking Burrow. And uh,
Lamar.
Steelers might have better defense, obviously, but I also think the Bengals have that much better of an offense, so I think it might offset each other. And the Bengals also, for everything that happened last year, they still won 9 games, and like they had some
Yeah.
pretty terrible luck. Like
Yeah.
everything that could have gone wrong for them last year basically went wrong, and they still won 9 games. I feel like they're going to get a little bit of positive regression there and find a way to like sneak out 10 and get second place.
And the Bengals finished third in the division last year, right?
Yeah, Steelers got the 7
Yeah.
seed for like
So
the
they're
8th year in a row just to lose.
yeah. So the Bengals schedule is also going to be easier this year because of
Yeah, they're gonna
they
be in
were the
third
third.
place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
It also seems like the Bengals always like start like they always start like
yeah,
3-4, 3-5 every year, and then dig themselves out of the hole.
in the Burrow era, they start horrible every year. They're a slow starter.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our next division. Speaking of slow starters, my Colts start like 1-4 every year, and then are playing for a playoff spot in the final week. Since Luck left, this is probably yeah, this has got to be the worst division in the AFC simply because I think it's deeper with playoff contenders than the AFC East, but it doesn't have anybody at the level of the Bills. I feel like there's more playoff contenders in it. I think there's 3 playoff contenders in this division, but the East is just the Bills are far superior to any team in this division. Um, I think it's going to be in terms of like actually a division race, though. I think it might be one of the most fun ones in the AFC, just because it'll be close probably the whole year, like it has been basically
Yeah.
every year for the last 4 years. I think it's a 3-team race, though. I actually like. I hate the Titans, and they're probably my least favorite team in the NFL. But I think Cam Ward's going to be pretty solid. I just don't think he's going to be good enough this year to make them anything because the team is pretty bad overall. The roster's pretty bad, and they're going through transitions. And I don't think Brian Callahan is a very good coach. So I don't like the Titans at all. Besides the fact that I do think Cam Ward um,
Has upside.
has upside, yeah. But I don't. I think it's more upside for like a good career. I don't think it's upside to lead the Titans anywhere this year.
Mhm.
Obviously, the Texans are the favorites. I mean, I'm looking at the odds. It's kind of been the same thing all offseason. The Texans are plus 100, which tells you truly that this is one of those divisions that is a toss up. When the odds on favorite is plus money, that means that Vegas has no idea what to do with it. Uh,
Mhm.
so they're plus 100, Jags are plus 300, Colts are plus 350, and then Titans are plus 750. That just tells you how much Vegas has no idea what to do with it, also, because the last place team, the Titans, are only plus 750. Like, pretty low odds or pretty like I guess decent odds. Like it's not crazy that they could win the division according to Vegas just because of how unpredictable this division has been. Texans are obviously the favorite though; they've won it back to back years with Stroud. Um,
Yep.
I don't think the Texans are going to repeat this year though. Their O line has been decimated. They have no O line. They didn't have one last year. It probably got worse. Um, they're banged up. Tank Dell probably, I would assume, going to miss the whole year because he had that gruesome leg injury late last year. Joe Mixon's on IR. The GM's talking about he may not play. They have Nick Chubb, but like that's Nick Chubb with a lot of miles and a lot of catastrophic leg injuries.
Another leg
Uh,
injury too.
Nick Chubb is an awesome running back and was awesome. I just don't know, like, can you trust him? I'm not sure on that. Tight end room, not great. Their defense should be really good again. Their defense should be very, very good. I don't think the Texans. I just think it's going to be a random down year. Stroud's the best quarterback in the division. Um, I think it's going to be a Jags and a Colts race. I think the Texans are going to be right there too. I think they'll probably still end up with 8+ wins. I just think they're. It's really hard to win the division a lot of years in a row in the NFL. It's really hard. It's designed for you not to because if you get first, you have to play the first place schedule. The NFL is designed for turnover.
Yeah.
So I just don't. I just don't see a world. I don't know. I just don't see a world where the Texans repeat. They could. Obviously, they're the favorite, but I'll get to my pick later. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I think it's gonna be the Jags or the Colts. Rock, go
The
ahead.
AFC South. I'm gonna pick the Colts to win it off of
Pete
Danny
Brown
Dimes'
Moser.
stellar play.
That's
And then hey, he might, gonna have a career year this year
oh yeah.
or whatever that is for him. I don't even
I,
remember what his
I,
career year
Running for
is.
75 yards and stumbling at the
Yeah.
what is it, the 10-yard line, just face planting.
I mean, the one thing I will say about that is like I'm one of the biggest Danny Dimes haters that you'll find in the Colts fan base just because there's no reason to start him. However, I will say like he made the playoffs with a Giants roster that was significantly worse than what the
Yeah.
Colts have right now. And this will be the best team he's ever played on by far. I still don't know that he's going to do anything with it, but I can understand like where they're coming from in terms of like Gardner Minshew won 9 games with the same coach in a way worse roster. Let's roll the dice and see if Daniel Jones can win 9, maybe 10 in this weak division and sneak into the playoffs. Because the sad thing is they're not coaching to actually win games. They're coaching to try to save their job, which is the sad reality, but it's the truth. That's why they didn't go they are. They wanted to go with the save option because you know exactly what Danny Dimes is going to give you. So they were like, let's just pray we can make him a game manager and win 10 games, make the playoffs, and save our job for another year.
Yep. And then I obviously have the Texans, above the Tennessee Titans and Jaguars. And then I think Cam Ward, has a pretty good year. Wins more games than the Jaguars because Jags seem to just always find a way to just choke, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You-
that's
you-
my pick.
You said Colts, Texans, Jags, Titans.
Yep.
Brad, where are you going?
Titans before.
Oh, you
Jags.
think Jags are in last?
Yeah, Jags are last.
Okay.
I'm off of Trevor Lawrence, bro.
This division was probably the hardest one for me. Just because like Ryan said, I think it's gonna be a very competitive division, with the exception of the Titans. I do agree with them that Cam Ward, exceptional upside. He seems to have a great mentality going in, which is what you need as an NFL quarterback. But I don't think the roster around him is good enough. So I have the Titans finishing last. And now it's a real shit show. I truly struggled with this one. The Texans, like you said, no O line. Weapons are there. I'm a Nick Chubb lover. Obviously not now. I don't think he's as good as he once was, because obviously knee injuries, age, all that's just against him. I
Yep.
do think Nick Chubb in his prime though is like one of the greatest pure rushers I have seen. He was just phenomenal. I do think that the Jags win the division. Trevor Lawrence, I have never been a fan of Trevor Lawrence. I can't when he was coming into the draft, he was projected the number 1 pick. Picked him to be a bust, which I think for as much hype as he has gotten, especially in the pre-draft process, I would classify him as a bust. Not a Ryan Leaf bust, but still a bust. And for me personally, I put the Colts number 2. They in my opinion probably have the most well-rounded roster with the exception of the most important position in football.
I don't even.
They're all, huh?
I don't even think it's a debate. If the Colts had a good
Yeah.
quarterback, they would run away with this division.
Yeah, I mean their O-line is phenomenal. Quentin Nelson is my boy. He is a dog. Second best guard in football. I'm surprised no retort on that. The defense is phenomenal. The weapons, JT's a dog. Obviously, the weapons are good with their wide receivers too. They're young. Well, Michael Pittman's not that young anymore, is he? But yeah,
Late
Colts number
20s.
2, and then Texans. I just think like they have all the stars that they need to be successful on the defensive end. They got a really good edge rusher in Will Anderson. They have one of the best cornerbacks in football with Stingley. They have a great safety with Jalen Petrie. Um, but I just don't think that O line's going to hold up enough. And Stroud under pressure has you've seen cracks, and obviously he's going to be relying on Nico a lot. So I think that the Texans finished third in the division. So I have Jags, Colts, Texans, Titans.
Yeah, I think that I think the Texans are the favorite and deserve to be the favorite, but I
Yeah.
think they're going to finish third as well. I just think like it feels not on the same level because the Niners were better, obviously, for years, but it kind of feels like what happened last year to the Niners. Like the Niners were so good for so long, NFC Championship after NFC Championship, then a couple Super Bowl appearances, and they just couldn't get over the hump. And
Yep.
eventually, just like all those long years, all those first place schedules, and eventually, like last year, it just culminated and caught up to the Niners. Debo hurt, Ayuk hurt, McCaffrey hurt. Like the whole team was just hurt, and like it just caught up to them. The Niners, I think the Niners will get to that a little bit, but I think they're going to have a good year this year. But like eventually, like in the NFL, like I said earlier, the NFL is literally designed for turnover to have new teams win all the time because that's why like it makes what like the Bills are currently doing, what the Patriots did, what Peyton Manning and the Colts did, and Rodgers and the Packers. Like it makes what those teams did consistently winning the division every year that much more impressive because you have to play a first place schedule. You have to play all the other first place teams in your conference. Um, and now you have to play a first place team from the other conference as well with the added 17th game. So you just have so much more going up against you. Um, when you win the division to try to go back to back. So I just think the Texans O line is the biggest piece because like Stroud's great, but if he's knocked down every other play, like there's only so much you can do.
Mhm.
I think the Texans are going to finish in third as well. I basically have just been tossing it up between the Jags and Colts for a while. Vegas basically says the same thing. The Jags and the Colts are basically a toss up. Last year I picked the Texans to win it. I think the last 2 years I picked the Texans to win it. Uh, I think I'm gonna go with the Colts at 10 wins this year. I really like the Jags, though. I think the Jags could easily win it. My thought is kind of like what Brad said. I think that the Colts, the last, 2 years, have had quite literally the worst quarterback play in the AFC, maybe, or up there. 2 years ago with Minshew, he was like, my eyes were bleeding every time I watched the game. And I was at the game in the last week, and they were literally a red zone swing pass away from probably winning the division with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. And then last year, whether it was Flacco or AR had flashes. Flacco was awful, but AR overall wasn't good either. They both were bad, and the team was still, again, like week 15, they were right in the hunt. They controlled their own destiny in like week 15 last year. So they were right in the hunt again. Um, and I think Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback, but I think he at least can manage a game better than probably Minshew and AR can, which isn't a high bar, but I think he can at least go out there, throw for 180 yards, run a little bit, not make mistakes. And if you look at the team from the last couple of years, the defense has significantly improved. They added Cam Bynum, added Charvarius Ward, um, added a little bit along the D line, a couple more depth corners. Jonathan Taylor is arguably the best rusher in the AFC. Obviously, Derrick Henry up there as well. But Jonathan Taylor had almost 1,500 yards in 14 games last year. He only played 14 games and he almost had 1,500 yards. Uh, so I like the Colts. I like the Jags a lot too. And again, I set them out on the Texans for this year, but if we're looking week 18 and the Texans are 10-7 and won the division, I'm not going to be surprised. But I do think if the Colts had a good quarterback, they would run away with this division every year because I think they do by far have the best roster apart from the quarterback. And obviously, the quarterback is the thing that weighs the most. And that's why the Texans have won it back to back years because CJ Stroud is significantly better than every other quarterback in this division. All right, you guys ready for the AFC West?
Mhm.
Cool.
I think this division, like the other three divisions, are also what makes the AFC South, in a weird way, the most interesting. It's probably the worst division in the conference, but the other three, whether you think they're going to win it or not, the other three have heavy favorites. Like the Bills win that division every year; they're the favorite. The Ravens, they win that division for the most part; they're the favorite. And the Chiefs, they win it every year; they're the favorite. So, like, could you say like somebody is going to get knocked off in this division? Sure, but like the Chiefs win it every year, and they have every year since Mahomes has been there. So like they are the heavy favorite. In terms of odds, Chiefs are minus 120, Broncos are plus 275, Chargers are plus 350, and the Raiders with Geno, Brock's boy, are plus 1500. Brad, you want to lead us off with this one?
I would love to start.
I know he's already going to pick the Broncos to win because he has a little brother complex, Patrick Mahomes.
He
All
does.
right. Let me get my breakdown here. Come on now. You don't know what I'm picking. The AFC West, I am dead serious when I say that this is probably, and there's probably two divisions actually, but this is one of them that I can see like a world where every single team in this division can make the playoffs. Like if you were to tell me, oh, the Chargers made the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. Like the Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos, I can see them all in the playoffs. I think this is going to be a fun division. Ryan, I do think the Chiefs will win this
Oh my God,
division.
Brock, you did it. Dude, people, go ahead. I'll say my point after.
Okay. I mean the Chiefs, Andy
Proud of
Reid
you,
is
Brad.
probably, you know what, Brock, you can leave. I don't
It's
like
so
the
dark in
Chiefs.
Brad's room.
I'm just hiding, bro. Chiefs, I think they win the division. Andy Reid is probably the best coach in football. I mean, Patrick Mahomes. You know, the Chiefs, you know, they just have a very good roster in general. And then my second place team, you guys are gonna be blown away. The now Las Vegas Raiders will finish second in the division. Ashton GT, the freaking workhorse, dude. Oh, he's gonna rush for 2K yards, man. Probably not actually, but I can hope. Anyway,
How about that one?
yeah, that was kind of a crazy pull. But the Raiders, I think they're going to be greatly improved. I think Geno is going to put up absolute numbers. Brock Bowers obviously is a dog. Brock Bowers is really, really freaking good. Their only sussy part is like Jacoby Myers is the wide receiver one, which even then I still think he's a really good like second target in that offense behind obviously Brock Bowers being the number one target in that offense. They have probably two of which last year they didn't play great, but then again they were facing injuries too. I think the Raiders have two of the most underrated tackles in football. Colton Miller's really good. I'm not gonna lie, the right tackle. Blanking on his name right now, but he's really good. I think the Raiders are going to be greatly improved. Obviously, Max Crosby is an absolute animal in there. I do think the Raiders will finish second. And then I have the Broncos finishing third. I do think this is a division that can have three playoff teams. I think that Bo Nix is going to improve. I think Sean Payton will develop Bo Nix really well. Cortland Sutton, I have high hopes for him. Obviously, I think Troy Franklin's going to take another step forward. O-line's good. Defense was phenomenal down the stretch last year. I do think the Broncos are going to finish third, and I wouldn't be surprised if they finish second. I think it's going to be tough for them to win the division, but I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised. It all depends on how the Chiefs overall play throughout the year. Obviously, it's I think their division to lose. And then the Chargers, me personally, which this might be a hot take, I don't think it is, but I think they have the worst overall roster in the division. I think they have the second best quarterback in the roster or in the division. Obviously Omarian's going to be really good. I think. I don't know how because now Najee's being activated. I don't know how they're going to do that split. But I do think that the Chargers are going to have a pretty solid offense. Obviously, with Jim Harbaugh coming in, I think they're going to be a year before he kind of like really settles in and like takes his not traditions, but like his what's the word I'm looking for? Culture. His before he really implements his culture into the Chargers. But I think the Chargers are on the right path to being a very good football team. I just don't think it's going to be this year.
This is I don't know where you're gonna go, Brock, but this is definitely the division where we differ the most. Because Brad's going to turn on a light. Look at him. I think that's what he's doing. There he is. I was waiting for you, Brad. I think Bo Nix is going to take a step back. I know he had a really good rookie year. I just still don't believe in Bo Nix as like an elite quarterback and to be really good in this specific division. I mean, you've got to be Patrick Mahomes. Like we have two quarterbacks who at most times in NFL history would beat everybody. Lamar and Josh Allen are two of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen, and they can't beat the guy. So I don't think Bo Nix is going to be the guy to take him down over the course of a season in a division. I don't think Geno Smith's going to be that guy. I'm a Justin Herbert stan, and I really like Justin Herbert. I think he's gotten to the point now where he's criminally underrated because of the fact that like we say Lamar and Josh Allen haven't beat Mahomes, but it's not obviously just them. And we all know that it's a team game. Like the quarterback can only do so much. You have to have all the other aspects firing to win. But like I think Justin Herbert is so good. If he had some of the teams that some of these other quarterbacks have around him, he would be perennial AFC Championship type quarterback. I mean, Justin Herbert is very easily good enough to win a Super Bowl. Like on the right team, Justin Herbert 100% is a good enough quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I agree, Brad, that I like the Raiders. I definitely think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be the last place team in this division, but not because I think they're a bad team. I think this division is just actually four pretty good teams. Like,
I agree.
I think the Raiders could win like 7 games and finish last. Like, I think the Raiders, I just don't think that, I don't know, like Pete Carroll hasn't coached in a bit here. Gino is good, but I don't know that, like, even on his Seahawks teams that have pretty good rosters, like they were around 10 wins is kind of their ceiling. So I think the Raiders are going to win like 6 or 7 games, would be like a very competitive team. Like their losses are going to be close losses. They're going to be a solid team. I just don't think, I think they're going to finish in last. I think the Broncos are going to take a step back and finish in third. I think they're going to settle somewhere around the 7 to 8 win range and just take a little bit of a step back. Like I said, mainly because of the Bo Nix thing, and also like their defense is really good, but in terms of weapons on offense, like Brock's boy Cortland Sutton is solid, but like I don't know, their running back room, like I got to see it from RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, kind of the same thing as Nick Chubb. Like
J.K. Dobbins is so good,
With the
bro.
Broncos are freaking Brock's team now. JK and Sutton?
but like you know what I mean with Dobbins. Like he is really good, but like can I trust him to be healthy for a full year? I don't know. Like
No, he's guaranteed to get hurt like week 10.
yeah, and like I don't know. Like their team is they're good. They're definitely a playoff contender. Even though I'm not a big fan of them, they're a playoff contender. You can't deny it. Obviously, they were in the playoffs last year. And I'm always high on the Chargers just because I love Justin Herbert. He's probably that's why I'm like so excited for Friday because I mean, if you guys couldn't tell, we do an episode on this and we end up yapping for an hour and a half every year. But like, I think for all of us, like, we love the CDL, but like, I think like we all also
Football.
love the NFL. Like, the NFL is definitely my favorite sport to watch. Like, I enjoy the NBA, but like in the NBA, as I've gotten older, I found myself just watching the Bucks mostly because I really like the Bucks and like I'm not usually tuning into like random games in the NFL. They could put on like the two worst teams on Thursday night, and I'm just gonna sit there glued to my TV. Like
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
I just love watching football. Fantasy football is by far the best of all the fantasy sports. It's just so
Fantasy
easily
baseball?
yeah.
Those-
It's just like football was just made for fantasy sports with a 1 game a week per team. Like each player has 1 game per week. It's so easy to just like you can be
Makes
as
so much
invested
sense.
as you want. You can be basically just draft your team and kind of set a lineup every week, and you can be successful, or you can be studying the waiver wire, trying to make trades. Like it's accessible for the most casual fan and the most hardcore. It's just like we love the NFL here. But anyways, I got the Chargers finishing second, and outside the Colts, obviously, like and you can see behind me, um, I love the Colts. Obviously, that's my favorite team. But I don't know why I've always just liked the Chargers in a way. Like I don't really actively root for them, but I just really like. I don't know why I really love Justin Herbert. I love watching Justin Herbert play. That's why I'm so excited for Friday because we get Herbert Mahomes. I feel like Chargers Chiefs game they always get thrown on primetime, and they're always just like good games. There seem to be a lot of close games played in primetime between those two teams, but I think the Chargers are going to finish second and make the playoffs. Um, and I got the Chiefs winning again. It's pretty hard not to pick the Chiefs win the division.
Let me give some O-line love to Joe Alt. He's a dog.
He's
He's so
and
good.
that is also something you reminded me. The Chargers losing Rashawn Slater this early is also a very
Yeah,
very
that
big
is
loss.
tough.
That's a big loss
What
because
is it?
he's really good.
But yeah, what is it with these modern day just freak athlete tackles just getting injured? Like Tristan Wirfs has had a lot of injuries, which he's when healthy, one of the best
Dude.
tackles in football for the Bucks. And now Rashawn Slater, a freakish athlete, one of the best tackles in football, also going down. I think this is his second kind of big time injury, isn't it?
Dude, maybe yeah, I think so. I think you're right. He had like a pec injury last year or something.
Yeah. Torn pack, yeah.
But this is also like maybe this is why I kind of gravitate and randomly cheer for the Chargers a lot of times with Herbert because they also yeah just like the Colts they have a catastrophic camp injury every year. The Colts have the same thing every year. I was texting my dad. I remember earlier in the offseason, and at one point the Colts had the top 5 corners were out with hamstring or ankle injuries, for, like all of camp. And I was like, all right, we're going to be down to practice squad guys in preseason game one. And like the Chargers seem to have that every year too. I think an underrated thing that nobody has been talking about that I've heard at least from the Chargers offseason though is the fact that Keenan's back. And like I know
Yeah.
again, injuries, massive question with him as well, but like Lad McConkey is really good. Trey Harris, their other pick, potentially a good player in the second round, potentially like a
Mhm.
deep threat. And he doesn't have to be super good because you've got Lad and Keenan. Like with his chemistry, and Keenan was still pretty good last year when he played for the Bears.
Yeah, it
Um,
Yep.
was. He
and with
he
his
made me lose the fantasy playoffs.
yeah, with his chemistry with Herbert, like as long as he's healthy, he's going to come in and he's going to have a productive year. I think Hampton's going to be an improved running back for them and really help their running game out a lot. JK was pretty solid for them last year, but Hampton's going to be that much better. And Najee Harris, as long as he's playing and he can see, he's instantly one of the better backups
Yeah.
in the league for sure. Um, and John Harbaugh, or not John Harbaugh, sorry, Jim Harbaugh, good coach. I like them. And then, like I said, pretty hard to pick against the Chiefs. Just like obviously, it's the same thing as the Bills, basically, or like any of these teams. It's like if any injuries happen, that's basically the only way I see them not going. Because I mean, Patrick Mahomes has never lost that division, and I mean, that team just wins. Like Brad said, Andy Reid, probably the best coach in football. Like the Chiefs just have everything going for them. They're solid up and down the roster. Brock,
Oh, I want to pick the Las Vegas Raiders to finish first. I'm just kidding. I would love Gino to go crazy like
Brock
that,
loves
but
Gino.
he's so good, especially if you go to, game day, right, Ryan?
Dude, we went. There's this sports bar though we've been to a couple times to watch games, and I'm not kidding you. We've gone there when Gino was playing for the Seahawks, maybe like 2 or 3 times, and every time we go there, Gino is the greatest quarterback of all time. He threw a throw when we were watching a game there one time that, like, I'm not kidding you, he dropped it in a bucket that I swear to God he's the only quarterback in NFL history that could have made that throw. It was the best throw I've ever seen in
It
my
was
life.
crazy. It was literally insane.
He was, like, off his back foot, launched, like, 60 yards in the air, back at the end zone, and it landed, like, in Tyler Lockett's lap as he was sliding, like, between 3 defenders. I Dude, I think they low-key might have been playing the Raiders. I don't know why I wanna say they were playing the Raiders, but
Probably.
it was when he was in the Seahawks, and he threw it was, like, the best pass I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even kidding. Geno Smith threw the best pass I've ever seen in my life. I need to, like,
Yeah,
find that highlight or something, but I don't remember who they were playing, but it was a dime. It was, like, the best throw I've ever seen.
it was. Love that. But no, I'm not picking the Raiders. I'm picking obviously the Chiefs for however many years in a row now.
Yeah.
They win every year. Wish my team could win it every year like the Chiefs, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then I have more faith in the Chargers and the Broncos, but just by a little bit more. But I think Denver and LA Chargers are gonna be very close in the end. Maybe like well, both have like 10 or 11 wins around there. And then Gino with this crew gonna throw for 5,000 yards, but they might win like 6, 7 games.
Yo, Brad, you raised your eyebrow at that. When was the last time? Wait, did Burrow throw for 5,000 last year? No, right?
No, he threw for 4,900.
I was gonna say I knew it was close. Gino Brock said this to me like multiple times that Gino was gonna throw for 5,000 yards, and I was like, that's so crazy. But Gino's actually thrown for 4,300 yards, like 2 of the last 3 years. Obviously, 700 more yards is a long way to go, but like Gino has actually thrown for 4,300 yards 2 of the last 3 years. Also, talk about one of the craziest career turnarounds of
Mhm.
like any quarterback. He struggled his first 2 years. I'm looking at his stats right now. He struggled his first 2 years with the Jets. Wasn't a starter for legit. He started then what 5 games over the next 6 years, and then just gets a
Crazy.
chance to start in Seattle. And he's not like elite or anything, but like that first year in Seattle, they went 9-8, made the playoffs. He had 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 picks.
Didn't he
Pretty
have the
good.
highest completion percentage in football that year too?
Yeah, 69.8%. Next year, a little bit of a dip. Started 15 games, but 3,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks in 15 games. Not a bad year. And then last year, they go 10-7, missed the playoffs. He has 4,300 yards, 21 touchdowns, 15 picks. So a little bit of a regression, not as many touchdowns, a little higher in the interceptions, but 10-7 record. And like, I mean, one of the craziest career turnarounds. Literally a bust from a top pick to being a really solid quarterback the last 3 years.
Yeah. And he got paid.
Yeah, and he got paid. I do think Geno is going to have a pretty good year. I just think the Raiders are really up against in this division because you got three really good teams that they have to go up against.
Yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be tough.
yeah, we're heading over to the NFC now, though. The top team here on this graphic is the other East. It goes in the same order: the East, North, South, and then West. Obviously, the NFC East was a pretty crazy division last year because the Commanders kind of came out of nowhere. I mean,
Went crazy.
they were not expected to be a good team. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, there was some excitement there. But I don't think anybody expected them to be an NFC Championship team. Um, I think when it comes to this division, the Commanders to me scream a team that's potentially due for a regression because like I love Jaden Daniels. I think he's good, but like there are a lot of holes in this team. I like the addition
Mhm.
of Debo. I think he's actually, if healthy, going to be a really big addition for them. Um, Obviously, the defending Super Bowl champs are in this division, and they pretty much return most people. The Eagles are going to be really good again. Um, and then I would say the
Yep.
Cowboys and the Giants, most people would have them as the bottom two in the division, just because the two teams that were in the NFC Championship are in this division. Um, I think it's pretty much going to shape out how it did last year. I've got it going Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. I think the Eagles are going to be fighting for the one seed again. I just think they're a really good team, and their division is weaker. When you look at a division like the North, I think that's where the one seed could come out of as well. But that division's so good that they're going to beat up on each other. Although last year, I mean, they had the two teams playing for the one seed, at the end of the year. So who knows? Um, but I think Washington is a potential wild card team in this division, and I think the Cowboys are going to be better than people think. I know all the talk is just negative with the Micah Parsons trade, but I think the Cowboys are going to be around 7 or 8 wins. Not like a playoff team, but I think they're going to be a middle of the pack decent team. And then I've got the Giants maybe around 3 or 4 wins. I think the Giants are going to struggle a lot this year, but we'll talk. Actually, we should talk our playoff teams in the AFC real quick. So I guess go back real quick. My division winners, I've got Bills, Ravens, Colts, Chiefs. I think for wild cards, I think the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Jags are going to be the wild card teams. One from each division. Brad, do you want to give yours quick?
So I have the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, and Jags as division winners. And then for my wild card teams, I have the Raiders. Then I have the Steelers, and I have the Bengals.
Two teams out of the North.
Yep.
Rock.
No, three teams
I-
are on the North.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Two wild cards.
Oh,
What I
yeah,
meant.
yeah. Yep.
Oh, we got the Bills, Buffalo Bills. Got the Ravens. That pick.
You picked the Colts in the
I,
South.
I picked Colts. Yeah, blanked on that for a second. Colts, obviously, win a Super Bowl this year.
I hope.
And then we got
Depends.
the Cheetos, bro, the Kansas City Chiefs, division winners, and yeah, I think Chargers, Dolphins, and Bengals.
Okay. I like it. Brock, you can go next on the NFC East. I feel like this division is pretty. I feel like this is another kind of straight up division. I think it's
Yeah.
basically split into two. If you have a shock team, you have a shock team. But I think it's pretty much here's your first and second place team, and here's your third and fourth place team. You pick the order. Nothing.
Yeah, have a feeling it's gonna be pretty similar to what you just picked.
The Eagles are their team just top to bottom is just so good.
Yeah,
I mean,
Eagles
obviously they won the Super Bowl
obviously.
last year.
Eagles are taking first. They got the tush push. Some Cheetos too. Got the Commanders second. I do not think they're gonna win 12 games this year. Maybe like 10.
Yeah.
And then Dallas hovering around the 8 to 9 wins with Dak. Might have a
Mhm.
pretty good year if he stays healthy. CD and George Pickens.
Yeah.
Then the New York Giants. What 5 wins at most, maybe. Some
Yeah.
good fantasy plays on their team though.
Yeah. I mean,
Tyrone Tracy.
a successful year for the Giants would be like you win like 4 games, but Jackson Dart plays towards the end and he looks like he could be the guy. Because then you have a top pick, and you don't have to worry about a quarterback. That'd be like the perfect year. If I'm a Giants fan, if they win like 4 games,
Yeah.
but Jackson Dart starts the final 6 and looks awesome, I'm happy. Like, I'm like, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
We can take another top player to add to this team, but we have our quarterback. That'd be the ideal situation for the Giants.
That would
'Cause
Yep.
you're not. I mean, unless Russ turns back the clock, you're not competing for much this year for the Giants.
Yeah. I like you guys have the Eagles winning the East. I mean, they probably have the most well-rounded roster in football. Like they just have, I mean, from
Yeah.
top to bottom, I can't think of a single hole on that team.
They didn't
Um,
really lose anything
there's
from last year.
no, exactly. And if anything, their young players are just gonna keep getting better. This is where I'm gonna change it up on you guys a little bit. The Commanders are gonna be playing the second place teams now, so they're gonna have I think a tougher schedule.
Yeah.
I do see some regression in this team. So I have the Cowboys finishing second, as painful and gross as
Oh,
that is.
I don't think that's crazy.
Um, I don't feel like Micah Parsons is obviously like probably a top five like all defensive player, like top five defensive player in all of football. So that hurts to lose, obviously. Um, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to be as bad as everybody's saying. Obviously, when you lose a star player, there's going to be like freaking out, people freaking out.
Mhm.
But like Dak Prescott, like he's a good quarterback. CD Lamb, he won the Triple Crown with Dak not that long ago, right? Or was he close to the Triple
I think
Crown?
he
He
was
was close, I
close.
think.
I think Jamar was the
Yeah.
last guy, or like the
Oh,
only guy to do it in
yeah.
a while.
Okay. Yeah, so I think the
Since
Cowboys
Cup.
offense is gonna be good. I do think that their running back room is a little shaky. Obviously they're gonna be relying on Javante, who's not that great. Um Jaden Blue is like explosive, but he's not really a between the tackles kind of guy. Um but either way, I think the Cowboys are going to be better than people expect. They're going to be playing a weaker schedule. I do think the Cowboys will finish second. I don't know if they make the playoffs. Maybe they're in the hunt towards the end to down the stretch, for like the 7 seed. But I mean, it's going to be tough. Then Commanders finish third. Like I said, some regression in that roster. I think Jaden Daniels will still be phenomenal, especially on a fantasy side. But I think that teams are going to scheme up a little bit more for him now that they have some actual like film on him. And then Giants finishing last, like you said, perfect scenario would be, they win 4 or 5 games. And then Jackson Dart comes in end of the road for Russ. But Jackson Dart ends up playing phenomenal last 6 games of the year. I think it's gonna be very much like a Michael Penix kind of thing where he plays like the last 4 games or whatever. Um,
And Penix
and
played
then
pretty
hopefully
well.
the Giants, yeah, and hopefully the Giants see like what they see out of Jackson Dart. I do have money on Brian Dable staying as the coach. One of my buddies think that he's going to get fired after this year. I hope not, because I love that bald heavy guy. But yeah, so I have Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants.
Okay. The odds are definitely against him just because it's been a couple bad years in a row. So like one more
Yeah,
bad year, he probably gets fired, and in
right.
all likelihood, they probably have a bad year. Although this is what bad organizations do. They keep a coach for 1 year knowing they're likely going to fire him with their rookie quarterback, and then they do fire him, so they have to change, aka the division we're moving on to, the Bears, bad organization. That's what they did with Caleb Williams. They kept a lame duck coach, knowing they weren't going to keep him the next year in Eberflus, and then fired him. So they're Caleb is now having to go into year 2 with a completely new coach. That's what bad organizations do. You keep a coach you know you're not going to actually, keep long term, and then make your rookie quarterback change it all up. You should just get the coach right away. You're going to get a rookie, just start over, get the coach that you want to keep long term. If you know you're not going to keep your coach, get rid of him. Um, but the NFC North is a division that I feel like all of us, in terms of not our own division, like Brock's the NFC South, I'm the AFC South, Brad's the AFC East. I feel like this is probably the division we all have the most, we're the most in touch with, just because we live in, well, Brad, I guess technically doesn't, but from Wisconsin, been in Wisconsin
Yeah.
basically our whole life. So I feel like I know more about these teams than the other random teams in other divisions, just because like I'm around so many Packer fans. Like, I mean, I've got my dad's a Vikings fan. I watch the Vikings game every week. Uh, my sister's a Lions fan. Like, I'm from Wisconsin, so this division is very like we're very in touch with it. I would say in terms of like the random divisions. I think it's probably the best division in football, just
Yeah.
top to bottom. It was last year for sure. I mean, it had the Vikings and the Lions playing for the 1 seed in the final week, and the Packers were a really good team as well. Um,
Yep.
and I think the worst team in this division from last year, the Bears, are going to be improved. I'm not as sold as everyone else is on Ben Johnson as a coach. I think he's a good offensive mind, but I mean, we've seen it a million times. Just being a good offensive mind does not make you a good head football coach. Like,
At McDaniels.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I think Ben Johnson's a really good offensive coach. I just don't. I'm not sold on him as a head coach. I think the Bears are going to improve though, because I still really like Caleb. I think Caleb's really good. Um, I think the Vikings are due for a regression here because they had Sam Darnold playing out of his mind last year,
Literally.
and like I'm not the biggest JJ McCarthy fan. However, I will say if JJ McCarthy is good, the Vikings will be really good because the team is good. When Jordan Addison's
Yep.
back, they have arguably the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL. I think I'd probably lean to the Bengals still because Jamar and Jefferson's pretty much a toss up, and I love T Higgins to take him over Jordan Addison for sure. Um,
Yeah.
so I think the Bengals probably have the best wide receiver duo, but the Vikings are right up there. I mean, Justin Jefferson is him and Chase are 1A, 1B, whatever order you want to go. Um, but I think the Vikings are due for regression. I think the Packers are going to win this division, and I thought this before the Micah trade, and the Micah trade just strengthens that, in my opinion. This is going to sound weird. The Packers are now the favorites, 175 to 185 over the Lions. However, I just think I'm going to look it up quick. I think the Lions are a better team than the Packers still. Losing both coordinators hurts, and the Lions' schedule is absolutely brutal. Have you guys seen the Lions beginning of the year?
I am not.
The Lions' schedule, they start in Lambeau, tough game.
Damn.
Then they go home against the Bears. Should be a win, but again, it's a division game. Division games are always hard, and the Bears are not bad. Then they have to go to Baltimore. Really tough game. Then they get to get a get right game, come home against the Browns. But then after this, they have to go to Cincinnati, to Kansas City. Those are both really tough games. And then they have to play the Bucks, another really good team. Then the Vikings, good team. Commanders on the road, really good team. Eagles on the road, a really good team. Then they get the Giants, and then the Packers again. Then the Cowboys, who I think are not going to be bad. The Rams on the road, who are pretty good. The Steelers, and then Vikings, Bears. That schedule
God
is.
damn.
I mean, they have to go on the road to Cincinnati, Kansas City, Washington, and Philadelphia, and obviously all the division teams. They have to go to Lambeau, to Soldier, and to the
That's
Vikings.
tough.
Yeah, their schedule is brutal. So for that reason, I think the Lions are probably the best team in the division. But again, a lot happens in the NFL, and that schedule is insane. I mean, is that not like that sounds like one of the toughest schedules I've ever heard? Oh, I didn't. Yeah, they have to go on the road. Yeah, I forgot to mention them in that. But not only their division teams, but I forgot to say the Ravens for the teams they have to go on the road in that list. They have to go to Baltimore, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Washington, and Philadelphia, and they have to go to all those 5 teams in like an 8-week stretch.
That's
Yeah. Top 5, 8-week stretch.
Yeah, Rock, your mic sounds a little muffled again. But yeah, I that's a brutal stretch, and it's a lot of those games are early, so I think the Lions could be like a 3-5 team, and you know, not because they're bad by any means, uh, but because like their schedule is just so tough. You can go, Brad. We lost Brock's cam. Brock's
I
experiencing
agree with you.
difficulties.
I think the Vikings are gonna, or not the Vikings. Sorry, the Lions are gonna be a very good team. Obviously, they have all the talent in the world. Very well-rounded roster, as I've said before, for a couple other teams. Um, with the addition of, they're getting Aiden Hutchinson back, which I think is a massive bonus for that team. Um, but like you said, that schedule is brutal. Like,
Yeah, their schedule's
I mean,
insane.
like, they'd be lucky to come out of they'd be really lucky to beat the Ravens. They'd be really lucky to beat the Chiefs. They'd be really lucky to beat the Eagles all way. Like, not only are they playing 3 of the best teams in football, but they're also playing them in their home turf, which all 3 of those teams are incredible at home.
Yeah,
And for that reason, like, I have the Packers as well winning the division. I mean, I thought this before the Micah trade. Um, but I think Micah definitely he definitely helps. That's for sure. But yeah, so I think the Packers win that division. Then I have the Lions finishing second, but I can
I'm getting Brock in here. His camera's glitching out.
Hello?
genuinely see a
Can hear
world.
you.
Hi, Brock.
I can hear you guys, but my camera's just not working at the moment for some reason right now.
We can just roll
What
with
the
it.
heck?
We can just run through the divisions quick. Already in an hour anyway, so we can just run through it quick. Go ahead, Brad.
So Packers won that division. I think the Lions are second, but I can also with that schedule, I can also see a world where they're like right around 500. Like, because I mean that schedule is brutal. Like, I mean, it's gonna be tough for them to win, especially against all those teams. Like you said, the turnover is legit, and like I think the Lions might fall to that. Um, but I have the Bears with third. I also think Caleb is really good. I think Ben Johnson's going to help with his development a lot. I think obviously he's not brain dead like Eberflus.
Mhm.
Um, I think the O line improved a lot. I think the defense improved. I think the Bears are going to be a good team, a very competitive team. But I have them finishing third. And honestly, with the Lions schedule, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears finish second. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
tough, but I would I think it's possible. The Vikings, I think they're gonna face a lot of regression. Then again, it all hinges on JJ McCarthy. We have no idea what he's gonna do this year. They obviously have phenomenal weapons when Addison gets off his suspension. Um, Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in football, and then Hawkinson is a plus tight end. They have Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, good old line, solid defense. I think the Viking, like you said, I think this is the best division of football. I have the Packers winning it, but genuinely two through four, I think could go any way. But I do think the Vikings finish last. And by the way, Ryan, when you said best wide receiver duos, I think you meant to say Shakir and Keon Coleman.
That might be one of the worst. Uh,
Hey, yo.
I yeah, I forgot to say my word, but I think it's gonna go Packers. I'll give the credit to the Lions because they do have a tough schedule, but they're really good. I think they'll find a way to win some of those games that look tough.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Packers, Lions, Bears, Vikings as well. But I agree. I I could convince myself that any team is going to win or finish last in this division. Besides, I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't think the Lions or Packers would finish last unless injuries just like destroy them. I think like the worst that they could finish is third. Um, I think the Bears are the most likely team to finish last here, just because I also think
yeah,
Kevin O'Connell's a really good coach and could get enough out of JJ McCarthy to win enough games. But yeah, I
hundred
think
percent.
I can see this division basically shaking out like almost any order. I think it's the Packers division to lose, but then the other three, I could basically see it going anyway. The Lions' brutal schedule could put them in last just based off that, but the Bears always finish last, so they could just do that again.
Right.
Um, I guess Brock will have you go on this one. And then since Brock's camera is all messed up, we'll probably just speed run our standings through the next few divisions and then wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. Packers, I think Packers first. Lions, after you told me that schedule,
Dude, it's insane.
that's very unlucky.
Yeah.
Definitely not winning 15 games this year again.
Yeah, it's insane.
But I still think they're a really good team, and they'll definitely be in the playoffs at the end. And I I think the Vikings third. They really don't. Great weapons, like you guys said. Just all depends if JJ can put it all together.
Yeah.
And then definitely Bears got a lot better, I feel like, but still last place for this great division.
Yeah. I yeah, that I thought it was Lions all day again because I still thought they were the best team. And then I remember like a few weeks ago, somebody was like talking about their schedule, and I looked at it and I was like, that might be one of the hardest schedules on paper. Obviously, a lot could change. Teams could be worse than we expect. Like injuries could happen that make the weeks that you play those teams a lot easier. But like just looking at like quarterbacks they have to play alone, they have to play Lamar and Mahomes and Baker and Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts and like all those great teams just because like they're playing the AFC North, which already is one of the tougher divisions in the AFC. Like it's got three very good teams, and then the Browns. And then in the NFC, they're playing the NFC East, which again is probably not the best division in the NFC, but they're already in the best division. The NFC East is probably the second best. They have the defending Super Bowl champs. It's a tough division. Like even the Cowboys, who a lot of people would say are third, are not an easy game. Um, but yeah, it's a probably the best division for sure. Um, I guess Brent and I can just kind of speed run our standings on this one. We'll let Brock have the floor more to talk really about this one, just because this is his division and just because we've been going for a while, so we should probably go through it.
Oh,
I
mhm.
always pick the Falcons in this shit, but I'm finally not going to do it. I think they're probably going to be a playoff team because I like the team every year for like the last 4 years, and they just haven't gotten it done. I
Yep.
think I'm finally just going to say, yeah, the Bucks are going to repeat again. I have the Falcons in second, Panthers in third, and then I think the Saints might be the worst team in football. I think that, I mean, they're what a sad quarterback competition. Tyler Shuck
Oh,
versus
yeah.
Spencer Rattler. Like, I think the Saints are going to
That's
be a.
so sad.
I'd be shocked if the Saints weren't a top 2 pick. Shocked. New head
Yeah.
coach, Spencer Rattler's the starter. Roster is not great. Like, I think it's Bucks, Falcons. I think the Panthers are a decent sleeper team. I think they're going to be improved. I think maybe
Yeah.
a year away from being into the playoff race. But I like Bryce Young. I always have. I like the Panthers. I think the team's solid. I just think they're a little bit below the other two.
Mhm. Yeah. I also have the Bucks winning the division. I love Baker. He's an I mean, I just love Baker. Yeah, he's just a dog, dude. Love
He's a
Baker.
dog, bro. I hate
Um,
him.
um, yeah, Bucks win that one. Falcons, I think, are a close second. I genuinely think the Falcons, if Penix continues to develop, I do think that the Falcons could have a shot because they have great weapons. They have, I think, an improving defense. But Bucks, Falcons, I think Panthers are easily. I mean, I don't think there's any way the Panthers finish last with the other team they have in that division.
Yeah, the
The
Saints are awful.
Saints, yeah, Saints are awful. I love Kellen Moore from his Boise State days. But yeah, the Saints overall roster is just
I don't know, the last time we
oh
threw a
boy.
stake in a team and said they were awful was the Broncos last year. Brock and I said the Broncos were awful, and then they made the playoffs. So maybe the
Yeah.
Saints are going to be really good this year. But Brock, this is your division. Falcons are your team. Let's hear
Oh, I love this division.
it.
Yep, Falcons, we got some good pieces on offense. It's always usually the defense that, chokes it. And the theme has been last few years where, we're like one or two games back and then we lose to like a shit team to just dig ourselves a deep hole and not make the playoffs and miss it. Or we have a bad quarterback play like Desmond Ritter back in the day.
Yeah,
But last year we actually had pretty good quarterback play until Kirk decided to forget how to play football.
yeah. Penix was
Well, he's
solid at
dealing
the
with
end.
injuries too.
Yeah. Penix, too, I really like Penix actually. Gonna do pretty good. And we got some good pieces on defense. And actually, not some good rookies, I would say, like Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia, and James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher.
Mhm.
Hopefully, those guys can produce because, defense is always, lacking.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And, I really want to pick the Falcons to win the division, but I just feel like, gonna be a win. They have to win the last week of the season, and they're gonna lose to the Saints. That suck.
oh,
I can't wait for
that's what
that.
they played last week.
They lose out.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
They lose out the number one pick because they beat the Falcons.
Yeah, and I think the Bucks are gonna take the division, but I think Atlanta beats the Bucks both times, like last year.
Hmm.
And so yeah, Atlanta second, and then I'm picking Carolina over New Orleans because yikes from Saints,
Yeah,
and Carolina's up and coming. Maybe like you said, Ryan, a year or two out from being a playoff team.
yeah,
And then I will say the one thing going for the Saints is they have Alvin Kamara and maybe Olave for fantasy football. That's about it.
yeah. Somebody's got to throw a lot of the ball, and he's got to not have a concussion. Also,
Yeah. One more
um,
concussion, he's might be yikes too for his career.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Tua.
I will say, like, of these teams that were like, yeah, I could see them being good. I think the Falcons is like, I think all of us are kind of on the same page. It's like the Falcons are like they're solid, and if Penix plays well, they could be really good. I think they're one of the highest ceiling teams of those like question mark teams. Like some of the other teams we mentioned, we were talking about like the Colts could be a team like that. The problem is like even if the Colts roster is good, like the ceiling's limited because Daniel Jones is the quarterback. So like you know what he is, the ceiling's limited. There are a lot of other teams like that. Kind of like I don't know, like we talked about like the Vikings in a way. Like I don't know that JJ McCarthy is going to be like top tier right away. Kind of the same thing with Penix, but I think like the Vikings and Falcons are kind of the same in that regard. Is like if their young quarterback plays well, they could be a surprise team that nobody expected that could like legit be in like an NFC Championship game because of the fact that the weapons are so good. Like the Falcons have one of the top running backs in the NFL. Drake London's a legit one. Kyle Pitts should be good. Like
Good.
they have a good defensive coach. They have some pieces on defense. Vikings obviously the same way. They have a nice running back tandem in Jones and Mason. They have arguably the best wide receiver duo. Hawkinson's really good. Defense should be good. Coach is really good. So it's like they have everything going for them if the quarterback play. If Penix is good, the Falcons, I think, are a legit sneaky team that could win a playoff game. But obviously, that's a big if because Penix has only played, what, 3 games in his career. So definitely a big if.
It
But
is, but we're believing in Penix.
I also always, I don't know, the Falcons are one of the other teams like that I always find. I don't know why I always like the Falcons. Maybe it's because like as an outsider where the team doesn't hurt you as much, they're kind of fun to cheer for because they find the most hilarious ways to just lose games, like
Yep.
in just the most insane fashion. So they're kind of fun to watch from an outside perspective because they're always just pure drama.
Yeah.
Um, all right, our last division, the NFC West. Could see 2 playoff teams coming out of this division. I think the Niners are going to have a big bounce back, though. I think the Niners are going to win it, followed by the Rams, then Cardinals, then Seahawks. Although I don't feel super confident in that, this might be the one division. I'm trying to look at all of them. This might be the one division, I think it is, that I can convince myself that every team could win it. I think this is for me the one division I can convince myself because, like, in the AFC East, plenty of teams I can't see winning it. I can't see the Browns winning the North. I can't see the Titans winning the AFC South. I can't see the Raiders winning the AFC West. I can't see the Giants winning the NFC East. I can't really see the Bears winning the NFC North, making that jump. I can't see the Saints winning the NFC South. And in this division, though, like I like the Niners. I do think they're going to win. But like, if Darnold has another good year, Seahawks could continue winning 10 games like they have and sneak it out. The Rams with Stafford, as long as Stafford's healthy, they've been always a playoff team. Like they could do it. And I still think the Cardinals are a decent team. Like I think they're probably the longest shot, but I think Kyler's fine. I think the weapons are pretty good there. I think they have a good defensive coach. I think the defense could be solid. Like I could be convinced that the Cardinals, if the division is bad, could sneak it out with 9 or 10 wins. I think they're the least likely, and I have them finishing third. But I like the Niners, then Rams, then Cardinals, then Seahawks. I think the Seahawks ceiling is maybe a little bit higher than the Cardinals, but I think the Cardinals floor is maybe a little higher.
Mhm.
Brad, you want to speed run through yours, and then we'll do Brock, and then we'll
Yeah.
pick our awards.
I have the Niners winning the division, just like Ryan. I just think the Niners last year were banged up. I think that
Yeah.
they're a really, really good football team. I think early on they're going to need Ricky Pearsall to kind of step up. Hopefully, Juwan Jennings' injuries kind of get pushed down a little bit, and hopefully he can stay healthy. But I do think the Niners are probably the best team in this division. I have the Seahawks coming in second. I really like their offensive coordinator. I think JSN is a really, really good receiver. K9, I think is going to be used and abused. If he can stay healthy, he's one of the best running backs in football. I mean, he's a really good player. Just injuries a lot. Which I think Charbonnet is good enough where he can also take on a bunch of the workload as well. Which they were saying that they really want to kind of emphasize the running game. And I think obviously what we saw from Darnold is going to be tough to replicate. But I do think he can do it, especially in this offense. He's got good enough weapons, and that secondary. I mean, Tariq Woolen, Witherspoon is really freaking good. I mean, I think the Seahawks defense is going to be really good this year. I think Seahawks finish second. Rams, I mean, Stafford is getting up there. I love Stafford. He's a really, really tough guy. But back injuries, like back injuries are one of those things that can, I mean, back injuries cripple people, dude. I
Tell
mean,
me, my
they're
back hurts
really,
right now.
yeah, I mean, they're tough, man. They're like hamstrings. They never really go away. Um, so I think Stafford. I mean, even if he's good now, I do think it'll flare up, and he's gonna have some tough games. So in that case, I do think the Rams have probably the best weapons in this division. Puka, Devontae, Kyron. I think that's a really good trio. I'm just worried about Stafford's back. Um, so that's why I have the Rams finishing third here, and the Cardinals. Like you said, Ryan, I think they have a really good team. I think they have a really high ceiling. But I also think they have a really low floor. So I have the Cardinals finishing last here. I think this could be the year if they don't see Kyler take them to the playoffs or come close to the playoffs. I do think they could move on from Kyler after this year too. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know. I yeah. So I have the Niners, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals in my NFC West.
Brock, what are your standings looking like?
Ooh. I'm with you guys. I got the 49ers. Bounce back year for them. I have the Rams second. They got a bunch of weapons. Stafford, just he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Good enough to go.
Mhm.
Seahawks are a good team too. JSN and Cooper Cup. Brad said K9 and Charbonnet. And the Cardinals aren't a bad team either. I just think they'll finish last in the end.
Yeah. I Yeah, that it's a tough division to predict. I agree though. I think the
It really
Niners
is.
are should be the favorite just because like everything that could have gone wrong health wise for them went wrong last year. Like
Yeah.
they were
Just
so
unlucky.
injured, and like it was kind of due. Like they had gone on so many deep playoff runs that like at some point the wheels are going to fall off at least for a year, and it's just a matter of if you can retool or not.
hmm
Mhm.
Um, let's end it off quickly with let's run through like a couple. I don't want to do all the awards like comeback player of the year, all that stuff. Like we'll just do like your MVP, your offensive rookie of the year, and your coach of the year, and then I guess your Super Bowl team. So quick MVP to me. I mean, I've basically kind of stopped caring about the MVP race since I'm a Bucks fan and I've watched Giannis just get absolutely robbed of it for a number of years because there has never been a year where Jokic has been better than him because there are two sides of a basketball floor and Jokic only plays one of them. Uh, Giannis has been better than Jokic every year, and he can't win one. He doesn't. He just gets third every year because people just get voter fatigue only for Giannis and not for Jokic for some reason. Um,
Weird.
and the MVP is just a narrative driven thing. Like it's crazy because like I don't think Josh Allen should have won it last year over Lamar, but then I think was it 2 years ago when Josh Allen led him back from whatever they were like 4-6 or whatever, and they ripped off like 7 in a row in the division. I thought that was the year that Lamar did win it, and Lamar didn't have like that amazing of a year. I thought that year Josh Allen should have won it, but he didn't. And then I think last year, I think Lamar was so clearly the MVP last year, and I still don't know how he didn't win it. And he didn't win it because it's a narrative award. Like they had decided that Lamar had won it a couple too many times, and Josh Allen had maybe lost it when he should have won it once. Because I think 2023 Josh Allen should have won it instead of Lamar, and then Lamar should have won it last year. I think they literally should have flipped. I think they
Mhm.
both should have the same amount of MVPs. They just should have gotten them in different years. And I feel like the guy who is just sitting there with a narrative, Joe Burrow, just seems like
Yep.
if the Bengals make the playoffs, not even win the division, if the Bengals make the playoffs, I think Joe Burrow is going to run away with the MVP. Not saying I think he's going to be the clear MVP, but like narratives matter in the MVP. It's just kind of unfortunately the way that the sports media works now is like they kind of predetermine who they want to win MVP before the season, and they kind of just run with it. And I think everybody wanted Joe Burrow to win it last year. They just didn't make the playoffs, so they couldn't give it to him. So I think they're going to push really hard. I think he's tied for the third best odds with Patrick Mahomes. It's Lamar is the favorite, just barely behind him. Lamar on FanDuel is plus 490. Josh Allen's plus 500, right behind him. And then Mahomes and Burrow are plus 600. And after that, it kind of drops off pretty far to Jaden Daniels and then Jordan Love and then Herbert. Obviously, it's all quarterbacks. Um, but I liked Joe Burrow to win it just because of the narratives. I think as long as the Bengals make the playoffs, they're probably going to give it to Burrow. I think another sneaky one is Mahomes. Had a couple not as good statistical years, and people. It's been a few years since he won one, so I think they might be ready to give it to Mahomes if the Chiefs get another one seed. And Mahomes has some good numbers, but I got Burrow winning it.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
kind of with you. I mean honestly if the Bengals won or got into the playoffs last year, I don't think there's any world where Burrow didn't win the MVP last
Yeah,
year.
probably.
Um and I agree with you as well. Like I'm not gonna be angry that Josh Allen won MVP, because I think he's deserved it numerous times before this, even
Yeah,
though I do think Lamar probably should have won it this year or
dude,
this most
Lamar's
recent
numbers last
year
year.
were insane. I mean,
I'm
like
I'm looking at it. Lamar completed 66% of his passes for 4,200 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 4 picks. He also ran for where is it here? He also ran for 915 yards on 139 carries. Led the
mhm,
league in yards per attempt at 6.6 with 4 touchdowns. And Josh Allen had a really good year, 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 picks. Rushing wise, I know he had a ton of touchdowns.
Yeah.
Rushing wise, he had 530 yards, 12 touchdowns. So tripled the rushing touchdowns. But Lamar's 41 and 4 touchdown to interception ratio. Like,
Josh Allen also had a receiving touchdown.
yeah, that weird ass play. It
Yeah.
was like flipped back,
Um,
but like, yeah, it's just such a
yeah.
narrative award. I don't know. The MVP kind of lost its luster a little bit for me personally.
Yeah. I'm with you there, but
Mhm.
I do think I think Burrow, like you said, narrative. I think he has the inside track to winning the MVP this year.
Mhm.
Um, but I do think like a dark horse. I know Packers fans are gonna love this. I think Jordan Love is a dark horse, even though I think you said he was like what, like sixth
He's
or
sixth.
seventh.
Yeah, he's sixth.
Oh wow,
Technically
so I guess
fifth
it's
if
not
you
really
count Burrow and Mahomes as tied.
okay. I guess it's not really a dark horse then, but I've been hearing a lot of things that like obviously Love was injured last year, so they relied heavily on Josh Jacobs, which I think they're going to go more to a passing attack this year, which I think Jordan Love has all the talent in the world to be able to put up MVP caliber numbers.
Yeah,
So like I thought he was going to be much lower on the odds, so that's why I said dark horse, but I guess it's not really a dark horse. But yeah, I think Jordan Love and Burrow probably are my picks, but I'd say Burrow. Burrow.
yeah. Brock, who you got?
I'm kind of with you guys as well. Burrow's gonna put up the numbers. Might probably win 10 games to get the playoffs. Probably will get it then.
Dude, when I'm looking at these odds, obviously I'm always going to say Herbert. I love Herbert as a long odds guy. I'm trying to look at it for like a long odds, like what would be a fun bet to ride. And like Herbert, obviously at plus 2,000. I mean, I've said it. I love Justin Herbert, so I like it. I also just like the way that team is. They're not going to throw the ball enough for Herbert to probably win it just because Harbaugh loves running it. Hurts
Hmm.
at plus 2,000 isn't bad, but I feel like the media doesn't really like Hurts, so I don't think he's going to win.
Yeah.
A guy that I'm looking at, though, there's two of them, Baker Mayfield and Brock Purdy. Plus 2,200 for Brock Purdy. I'm not even the biggest Brock Purdy fan, but I think they're just going to have such a bounce back year. And like in that offense,
Mhm.
Purdy puts up numbers. Like if the Niners win 13 games and like, let me look at Purdy's numbers. Like he didn't have obviously as good of numbers last year with all the injuries and everything that just went down. But like 2 years ago, like yeah, he even in a like quote unquote down year in 15 games, he threw for 3,900 yards and 20 touchdowns. Like pretty solid numbers. But the year before that, he had 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions in 16 games. Like, if the Niners win 13 games and Purdy throws for 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, there's a decent chance he wins MVP because it's also
Mhm.
kind of a really good story for the media, Mr. Irrelevant to MVP. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
it's a good storyline. And then I also think, like, Baker, because that division is so winnable, I think
Hmm.
like if Baker puts up the big numbers he did last year and like the Bucks just improve that record, there's a world where maybe Baker gets in that conversation as like the long odds guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Offensive rookie of the year, we'll just do that one. I feel like let me look. That's a rookie of the year. I'm assuming the odds on favorite is probably Cam Ward just because quarterbacks just have such an easier time winning it. Obviously, the other big time candidate I'm guessing would be Genty. Oh, Genty's actually the favorite on FanDuel, plus 250. Cam Ward's plus 300, then Hampton at plus 750, then Travis Hunter, then Tet, then Travion, then Ibuka, Golden. Roski Merritt is ahead of uh, Tyler Warren. That's kind of crazy.
Fourth
Um,
stringer.
yeah. It's tough because my heart's telling me to pick Genty for rookie of the year, but the
Mhm.
NFL is just such a quarterback driven award league that like if Cam Ward has a good year, he's gonna win it. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go just for fun. I'm gonna say Genty because I think he is gonna have a really good year, and I think he's gonna be deserve. I think there's a chance Genty deserves it and still doesn't get it because if Cam Ward has a good year, he's gonna get it because they want to hype up the
Yep.
quarterbacks.
Mhm. I agree with you. Obviously, I'm a big GT fan. I hate Travis Hunter for only one reason because he robbed me of money. But I love Ashton Genty. I'm gonna say it again. I love Ashton Genty. I love him a lot. He's a great running back. So I think he should win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But if I was a betting man, I put money on Travion Henderson. Um, I think there's a very real possibility that he goes Captain Insano, poke your eyes out. Um, he's really talented. I feel like I feel like the coaches there, I mean, it is a new regime, but Ramondre has fumbling issues. So I think there's
Yeah.
a very easy world where Travion takes over the role week 2, week 3, as the bell cow.
Mhm.
And I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe he runs for 1,200 and 8+ touchdowns. Like, I think that's, I mean, that's one of the best running backs in football if he does that. So yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd put money on Travion, but my heart's gonna say Ashton Genty because I love that man's.
I actually quickly want to say I think Genty's the most likely to win it, but if I was actually going to place a bet on this, I'm not betting on Genty or Cam Ward or Travion. I would probably actually put my money on Travis Hunter at +1,000, just because again narratives. Like if he ends up playing a little bit on both sides of the ball,
Wait.
like let's say he has 800 yards and 5 touchdowns receiving, but also has like 3 interceptions, dude, they're gonna like hype that story up as like
Mhm.
most insane thing ever, and he's gonna win, kind of like he did last year with the Heisman. Um,
Yeah.
and I actually think
If
that
he
like Hampton's a really good
Yeah.
bet too because I think the Chargers are gonna be better than the Raiders, and I think they're gonna feed him. So I think there's a chance that like Hampton. But if I was gonna bet because he's +1,000, better odds, a little more money, I think I'd actually bet on Travis Hunter because if he does play both ways, media is gonna go crazy for it.
if they
Yep.
include the picks for his offensive rookie of the year, I'm gonna lose it.
They're gonna give it to him one way, offense or defensive. If he plays well, that is a good point though. Since it's technically based on offense and defensive, if it's both stats, like you emphasized the wrong word there by saying offensive rookie. You should have said offensive, but
Oh yeah, my bad. I just got a little heated, you know.
that is a good point though. I didn't really think about that. I was just more thinking like general rookie of the year.
Right.
But that is true. It's not like the NBA. You don't just get a rookie of the year. You get offensive and defensive. So that is true, I guess. I wonder what are his odds. Brock, you go ahead. I'm gonna look at his defensive rookie of the year odds.
I probably have to lean towards Cam Ward over
Mhm.
Genty. I mean, they're both good, can be good players. I think so. And
Yeah,
we know that quarterbacks valued more, so
yeah.
it's gonna happen like that,
Dude,
unfortunately.
Travis Hunter is the fourth best odds to win rookie of the year and fifth best odds or offensive and then fifth best to win defensive. That's crazy. Just like
That's crazy.
the fact that you can be top five to win offensive and defensive rookie of the year in the same season is insane.
Hmm.
All right, coach of the year. Who do you guys think the odds on favorite is? Curious. Not who you think. Who do you think is the favorite on FanDuel to win coach of the year?
Dan Campbell. I don't
Mike Tomlin.
Dan Campbell's like 12th.
know.
Tomlin is like 20th. Ben Johnson's the favorite. So,
Oh,
coach of the year, and you look at it, it's not a lot of good teams. It's always everybody trying to bet on the team that's gonna go from bad to good with a new coach. Is basically how it's basically like a most improved award. Like the favorite is Ben Johnson, then it's Mike Vrabel, who I don't think is a terrible bet. Then it's Liam Cohen, then it's Aaron Glenn, then it's Pete Carroll, then it's Mike McDonald, it's Dave Canales. It's basically like a lot of new coaches or like early in their tenure coaches. Then Jonathan Gannon, then Kyle Shanahan, then Harbaugh, then Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, Matt LaFleur, Shane Steichen. I, so I'm going a couple ways. It's never really the best coach. It's usually the guy who outperformed their expectations. For that reason, I think my big contenders, I like Jonathan Gannon as a potential candidate if the Cardinals kind of outperform expectations. I like Kyle Shanahan because I think they could potentially get the number one seed in the NFC in a big bounce back. I like Shane Steichen because if he gets Daniel Jones to the playoffs, like a lot of people think he can, that's an insane accomplishment. Uh, I like Canales if the Panthers bounce back, and I don't hate Vrabel. I'm not big on Ben Johnson being the favorite. I'm gonna go Steichen just because I think he's gonna get Daniel Jones to win the division, and I think that's like one of the craziest feats of all time if you win a division with Daniel Jones.
I like
Um,
that.
but I think Shanahan's a really good pick at +2,000 because I think they might get the number one seed in the NFC.
mhm. I'm gonna go just based off my predictions. I'm gonna go with Pete Carroll, because I do think that the Raiders are gonna finish second in the AFC West, and if they do that, I do think Pete Carroll is gonna win it because they went from being a competitive but not very good team to being a highly competitive team, and in
Mhm.
my opinion, a playoff team. So my pick is Pete Carroll here.
If they make the playoffs, he definitely would Be right there in the top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Fuck. Pick your guy.
I think
Raheem Morris is a great pick at plus 3,000.
I was literally thinking about picking him, so I'm gonna pick him. Raheem Morris is taking the Falcons to the promised land this year.
Dude, he might he might be like one of the best picks because if Penix is good, the Falcons are going to win double-digit games, and I'd say that's more than what people expect. So Raheem Morris at plus 3,000 is great value. That's
I
also
like
like
it.
this is why Coach of the Year is such a funny award because who do you think is tied? There's 3 coaches tied for the worst odds to win it, and it's Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, and John Harbaugh. Three
I was
of
gonna guess. I was gonna guess John, Andy, and McDermott.
so McDermott's tied for second lowest with Stefanski, which is hilarious because Stefanski's the one guy on this list that isn't. Most of the guys that have the longest odds are coaches of really good teams or really good coaches or both. And then most of the guys at the top are new coaches or coaches of bad teams. And then there's Stefanski, who's tied for second last because he's on a bad team. And like they just are like, yeah, this team's so bad that they're just not going to be good. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I like I like Raheem Morris a lot at plus 3,000 just in terms of value. Just like that team could be a big candidate to bounce back. I also, again, I like Steichen because like if the Colts win 10 games and win the division, it's going to be like, damn, he won a division with Daniel Jones. Like, it's going to be like, what a work of art, especially since he's an offensive play caller, calls plays. It's going to be like, what a work of art to win a division with that guy at quarterback. Okay, we're probably at the longest episode of the year. So quick, your Super Bowl teams. I think in the NFC, I think the Niners are going to get back to the Super Bowl. I just really like the Niners this year. I think NFC Championship is going to be them and the Packers or the Eagles. I haven't really decided, but I think the Niners are going to get there. And I think they are going to play the Buffalo Bills. And I think the Bills are going to get it done this year. That's my pick. Look at Brad's face. I think it's. I mean, I've always been the person, which is funny that I'm picking them because I've always been the person that's like, yeah, I'm just not going to pick against the Chiefs. I just think the Chiefs have made it so many years in a row. They're due for just like a little bit of a playoff letdown or a big playoff injury, just because like it's like the Niners last year. They made it to the damn AFC Championship game so many times that like at some point the wheels are going to fall off and they're going to like just implode. You would think, maybe not. They might just make it again. But I'm going to say Bills, Niners, Bills win it.
Love that idea. I have the Bills in the Super Bowl. Shocker. Out of the NFC is tough for me because I do think that the Eagles 49ers are probably the best teams in the NFC. I think the Packers, obviously with Micah Parsons, makes them a little bit more lethal. I just don't think like the receiving core is it. Like that receiving core scares the crap out of me. But you know what team I do think will make the NFC championship and go to the Super Bowl? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield is Timothy. Um, and then give me the Buffalo Bills against the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl.
Rock, don't pick the Bills.
He hates.
I'm not. No, I'm gonna pick the Jets. Imagine.
Oh God.
No, I'm gonna pick the Ravens in the AFC, and I'm gonna pick the Lions, and the Lions are gonna win it
with that schedule.
That's crazy.
That's yeah. I mean
that'd be a hell of a year.
Okay, I was actually just like looking at these teams, and there's actually only I think 3 teams in each conference that I wouldn't be surprised if they made the Super Bowl. And then every other team I'd be pretty surprised. So like in the AFC, I think it's the big 3 as always. Like if the Ravens, Bills, or Chiefs make the Super Bowl, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Anybody else, I'd be pretty surprised. I think there are teams that could do it, but like anybody else, I'd be surprised. In the NFC, I think it's the defending champs, the Eagles. And then I think it's the Packers. Then I think it's the Niners. Again, I think both of your picks, I could see the Buccaneers and the Lions making the Super Bowl, but I'd be pretty surprised if they did. It'd be an upset if they did. I think it's basically I think it's Packers, Eagles, Niners in the NFC for me, and then Bills, Ravens, Chiefs. Anybody else? There are some teams I could see, but anybody else would be a pretty big surprise for me at least. Lions again, I think they're really good, but dude, every time I look at the schedule, I just get less and less sure about them. not because of the team, but just because like they might go 9-8, and that's a damn good year for their schedule, but not good enough to
Ah,
go anywhere.
right.
Yeah.
But if they do make the playoffs, oof, like that could be a watch out scenario. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that'll
Brad,
harden.
your rookie of the year pick, Travion Henderson, on the official Patriots depth chart is listed as RB3 for week 1.
RB3, really?
For Montre, then Antonio Gibson, then Travion. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. Obviously, you won't probably hear any NFL talk besides like a random little thing on the pod for the rest of the year because that is not what we do here. But if you guys enjoyed, comment down below. I'm sure this is always one of the lower engaged videos just because it's not what we do. But if you guys are NFL fans, comment your predictions for the year. And thank you guys so much for watching. And we will see you in the next one.